Hello. Um, so a few months ago, I don't know, I kind of lost track. I uploaded a video talking about Subnautica 3. And coming with Subnautica 3, most likely, are going to be new vehicles. Now, what Unknown Worlds likes to do is, at least what we've seen like once ever, they like to go back to old concepts for new ideas, just like any game developer would. You know, So today we're going to be looking at some of the Subnautica concept vehicles, mostly from before the original release of Subnautica, like the original Subnautica, but I think one or two might be from before Below Zero. I don't know. But yeah, let's just start. Probably the one we're starting with is probably the most famous concept. It's the Atlas slash Beluga sub. Um, it was rumored that it was going to be in Below Zero. Now, obviously, not even the Cyclops was in Below Zero. So, and I think we knew from the start Below Zero was going to have a smaller map. So I'm not sure why we thought that a sub that was like twice the size of the Cyclops would ever work on Below Zero's map. Um, but yeah, this if this were to be added to Subnautica 3, like the map would be huge because, as you can see here, that's a dude. That's a human compared to the size of the Atlas sub. That's crazy. That's just, and the sub would be, that's just such a huge sub. It's, and I mean, on the sides, these look to be maybe escape pods, but I'm not sure. It definitely has resemblances to the Cyclops, like those little side engines, the big, like this thing at the top. I don't know, but the sheer size of it would make it so much fun, and also incredibly difficult to drive. I mean, think about how much trouble you have driving the Cyclops regularly. Like it can barely navigate the safe shallows or the mountains. You know, like getting to the Lost River in the Cyclops is probably one of the most annoying things I've had to do. Next, we have the Odyssey sub. This sub, I'm not quite sure if it's official Subnautica art. I don't think it is, but it seems like they've at least seen it. So it's basically, it looks like a scaled down version of the Cyclops. You know, it seems to have the little hatch at the front and the big dome uh, steering thing. But it looks like there's a little bit of standing room inside, which, it would be cool to have a small sub like that. And you can kind of see how big it would be. You can kind of picture it. That would be a really cool sub, though, to have. Like, I don't know. It would just be cool. Like, because the we don't have any sub with standing room. That's similar to the size. I mean, I guess you can get. I guess if you include the sea truck, we have that. But the sea truck has modules that can attach and stuff, which makes it a little bit different. Um, I mean, I like the sea truck, but eh, it's okay. Yeah, but this would be really cool. I don't know what that thing on the side is. Maybe it's like a, huh. I mean, there's nothing small enough that you could dock there, unless there was like a smaller vehicle you could like attach to it or something, you know, or if that was just another way to get out or in. So yeah, this is a really cool. I like this. I would totally like this would be like if they added this to Below Zero, it would fit perfectly with the map, I think. I mean, they're not going to add it obviously, but I mean, if it was on a map similar to the size of Below Zero's, it would fit perfectly. I know we have Cmoth concepts. Uh, so you can see with the bottom two, this is obviously the Cmoth that we all know and love a little bit, kind of. It's pretty much useless after you get the Cyclops and the prawn suit. And then over here seems to be at least inspiration the for the sea truck, because it does have that kind of look to it. You know, maybe it was the sea truck, like, I don't know, cab. A cab was a little bit stubbier than that, but these three other ones, 3A, 3B, and 3C, all are really cool. I like them. So you can see 3A is kind of like an arrow with like two engines on the sides, you know. That one's, I don't really like that one. I think it's way too much glass. You know, and it looks, the way the glass curves down looks kind of weird and unnatural to me, at least. It really looks like the cockpit of another like submarine, because it kind of looks like almost like a Lego piece. You just kind of put it in there. Um, 3B reminds me of an X-wing from Star Wars. Yeah, I like 3B. I think it's cool. You know, cool and sleek, and it seems like with four engines would be at least pretty fast. You know, because the Cmoth wasn't even that fast. Like for Subnautica, like, I mean, at least when you're driving the Cyclops in Subnautica, you know, you have a huge submarine to play around with that you can just walk around in. You know, when you're in the prawn suit, it's just way too much fun. Um, you know, and the Cmoth, it's just boring. 3C. This one's kind of a mix of 3A and 3B. Now it is pretty cool. Because it's got like kind of, I don't know, what do you call that, segmented glass? Like there's little individual panes. I like that. It's cool. It seems like the smallest of all five concepts. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Next is the Draconis concept. This is one of the, I think, one of the best concepts Subnautica has. Like, look at the back. The back is like, that's the engine. Like, none of this was taken inspiration from the Cyclops or the prawn suit or the Cmoth. All looks completely original. I would love that. Like, you know, it seems like you drive it from a bridge, maybe up here. Um, that would mean it's monstrous. Not monstrous like Atlas size, like monstrous like you could fit an Atlas in it, like actually dock it. Um, I don't think we're gonna have a Subnautica game that big for at least 30 years. But in 30 years, if there's a Subnautica game with a map big enough for this thing to be actually viable, I will buy it and I will play it, and it will be the best thing I've ever done in my life. Like, if this was added into the game, obviously, I think in a realistic scenario, this added into any Subnautica game would be massively scaled down, and they would need to work out a place for where you were to drive it from. Because it looks like in the original concept, you were going to drive it from a bridge up here, where those, like, kind of black windows are. That's definitely, uh, definitely means it's way too big for any Subnautica game. So they would have to find out a new place to put the bridge. I mean, they could definitely do it with a little bit of redesign. Please don't put the bridge at the front of the submarine, though. Like, I've just realized this now. Every submarine we've ever had in Subnautica, all four of them, prawn suit, I'm gonna count as submarine, the Cmoth, the Cyclops, the prawn suit, the sea truck, all of them have had cockpits right in the front. Boom, right in the front. I feel like it would be fun and more challenging, maybe, if you drove it from a middle position, like a car or something, you know, like with the Draconis, you know, you would be in the middle, kind of slightly more towards the back, but still, like, you know, you would have a huge nose in front of you. which would be a downside to driving the. It would be a downside to driving the Draconis. I mean, an upside would be you have a massive submarine where you can probably park like 900 Cmoths, which that would be I would just love that. I want that. I want it now, please. Unknown Worlds, please. I want it. Now we have 3 mid-sized sub concepts. These are all really cool because we don't really have any mid-sized subs. We looked at the Odyssey earlier in this video. Now the Odyssey I thought was cool because he had a medium submarine. In the original Subnautica, you have Cmoth, which you can just sit in, and the Prawn Suit, which you just sit in the Cyclops, which is huge compared to those two. And it's below zero, we have the Sea Truck, which is great because it's like a medium-sized submarine. You can walk around a little bit in it. You can customize it a little bit, and it's perfect. It takes up the role of the Cyclops and the Cmoth in below zero. Even though the Cmoth is actually still in the game files, weirdly enough. Yeah. But, anyways, this thing is cool. Like, all of these. Like, this big one seems to, if we were to have one of these, I think the big one, like this one, would probably be the one that we would get because it looks like there's decent room in the back. Like this would be like the engine and stuff back here, and this would be space for something. Now that would be really awesome to get. I would love it if we had that.